Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, we're going to take a look at a Tough Knives collaboration with Civivi that actually I didn't even know I was looking forward to, but I've been loving this knife. Can't wait to check it out. Kaiser Mad Tanto. I love this thing, Kaiser Mad Tanto. And then we're going to talk about being prepared, whatever that means to you. Of course, I was thinking at it from the knife standpoint because I have this backpack I got to empty out, and it's so full of stuff. And it's so full of stuff because every time I jam something in there, it's my EDC bag, I'm thinking, oh, it's to be prepared. And then I'm like, I don't even know what I have. Ghost, how you doing? I'm waiting. Good to see you, man. I'm glad to have you. Have a nice day. Good to see you here too. Good evening, Junkaloos. Junkaloos, I like that. Dave, how's it going? Hi, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Big proponent of TNK here. I like what you did with the language. I just commented on Dave's posting on IG of an amazing all titanium large proponent. Such a cool knife. Blade Ogre, how's it going, sir? He says hello all. Well, hello to you, sir. Kep McNessart, how you doing? An early adopter is with us. How you doing, Kephart? Yeah. Can't wait to get a little something in your hands, and that's the Nova 1. He ordered a Nova 1. I can't help it. I had to say it. Damien, how's it going? Damien 0530. Is that May 30th? Is that your birthday, Damon? I said Damien. I'm sorry, Damon. Good to have you here, man. Blame Dexter. I failed a test, and now I'm sad. Oh, dude, I'm sorry, man. That does happen, but as I tell my daughter, because James, how's it going, man? Good to have you here. James Moore is with us. But when you fail a test, it is an opportunity. I know you don't want to hear that right now. You just want to hear that fucking sucks. I'm sorry, man. But you'll be back on top. Believe me, you'll be back on top. This will put a fire in your belly, fire into your butt, whatever. And you'll make it right. So we all mess up. And I do with some frequency. So sweat it not. Honeybear85, good evening, everyone, he says, and I think I see two beers coming together in a cheers. Robert, good to have you. And Robert, I have been avoiding pronouncing your last name because I had you spell it for me phonetically once, so I'm just going to look at it. I usually pride myself on this. Brancusi, Robert Brancusi. It sounds like Brancusi, the sculptor, a little bit. Anyway. Thanks for coming. Stanley Herod. Good to have you here, Stanley. Hey, he says. Well, hey to you, sir. It's good to have you, man. Will be also an early adopter. Good to have you here. Hey, Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies. Well, hello, Will be. Never Enough Knives, 007. Hey, you junkies. TNK. Hey, is anyone else, is this Lent for anyone else? If you see excessive energy, it's because I'm giving all sorts of stuff up. Brancheski. I'm writing that down. Right on my computer, not even on a piece of paper that gets thrown to the side. Brand, chess, like the game, and key, like the thing you use to open a door. Hero Sticks, evening and cheers, he says. Well, evening to you, sir. It's great to have you here. I am very psyched. I'm drinking a beer, so no. All right, will be. Good, man. I find it good to every once in a while, rein it in. So I'm reining it in. I was gonna rein it in to the point where I stopped drinking coffee, and then everyone around me that I suggested that to really protested stridently. So I decided to indulge them and to continue enthusiastically with my favorite beverage. Ketmuk says, hit the like button and then go pre-order a Nova 1. Ketmuk, I'm putting you on the payroll, sir. That was very nice. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, please do hit like if you're here and you've lasted this long. Hit like, and then if you're interested in the Nova 1, you know where to go. You go to theknifejunkie.com/Nova1. Drive Strength. Good to have you here. Evening, Bob and Jim. Bob, I finally got my Kunwu Pulsar knife from the Kickstarter campaign. It's amazing. I'll email you a pic. She's a Butte Clark. Awesome. She's a Butte Clark. Is that from Vacation? Is that the cousin who says that? She's a Butte, Randy, I think. But that Kunwu is cool. I've been seeing other people on Instagram have gotten theirs and posted their pictures, and yet another cool knife that I slept on. Though that one was not necessarily on my radar. But I have liked what I've been seeing from Kunwu. It's cool stuff. Uh, okay, so let me see. I wanted to show you guys something. So I sent a few, let's say, 6 weeks ago. I showed you a Tops Hawks Hellion. My buddy Ian, it's his Hawks Hellion, and I remember when he got this thing, and boy, it looked a lot different from when he got it. It was all beaten up. All of the black traction coating was pretty much rubbed off. The edge was dull. I mean, he used the crap out of this thing. He used to do a lot of camping, and this would be his main knife. Well, anyway, he last couple times ago, I went to train with him, and he brought me the knife, and he said, "You think you can sharpen this?" I was like, "Sure, I can sharpen anything." And I got it home and pulled it out of the sheath, and I was like, "Oh, geez, this is going to take me forever." And I didn't want to take this to my belt grinder because I'm just not that good that I would destroy someone else's tops with my Sears belt grinder. So, long story short, I sent it to Tops. They have an amazing refurbishing service, and you go on there and you can send them your knife and they will recoat it with any one of their coatings. And they have way more than I thought. I think the only one they don't do is the acid rain, I think, because I think that's what they called it, but because that relies on a differential heat treat on certain knives. So I don't think that one's on offer. But as you know, this one came with the black traction coating, and I had them put Cerakote on, which is like thinner and slicker. And look at this. They sharpened it. First of all, I mean, it is wicked sharp. This thing is like a pry bar, but man, it is razor sharp all the way up here and here and here, which you know I like. And then they also sharpened that notching saw. And it is like sharp to the touch. It's like it's crazy. I don't have any knives with that kind of saw, but man, they got it wicked sharp. And they put new hardware in the handle because the hardware was missing. And I bought a new sheath, and this whole thing, I swear it's a brand new knife. And if you look at the video I put up yesterday, I was really wondering if it was a new knife, and then decided they're not going to just send me a new knife. They have a refurbishing service, but they do such a great job is the long and short of it. And then they sent me a new, because I bought it, a new sheath for him. And the new sheaths have 2 pockets, and they're the same nylon sheath, but they have a nice hard insert, and they send it with a whistle and all that. I've never been too fond of these nylon sheaths, but it'll do. And it's not my knife. But so if you have any old Tops knives that you've been banging, if you have any old Tops knives that you've been really abusing out in the woods, none of this sounds right to me. You can send it to them, and they'll recoat it and sharpen the hell out of it and do anything you want with it. You'll get a brand new knife back, basically. An interesting thought. I was like, for a split second, I was like, do I send my Prather War Bowie in and have them put Cerakote on instead of black traction? And I thought, first of all, no. And second of all, that's ridiculous. Ghost says, Junkie, thank you for putting me on the DP Nighthorse tie. Nice blade. Ghost, you're giving me the perfect segue for a pocket check. I love it. I love that little graphic sting he made. I'll sit here and wait all night for it if I have to. I just think it's so cool. And I think I snuck up on Jim. But it's because you mentioned this damn knife. This thing is so sweet. The Night Horse, designed by Dirk Pinkerton and made by the asymmetrical line of Beyond EDC. That's their mid tier. They have the Terra. Let's see. They have the Beyond EDC. That's the low. They have the mid, which is asymmetrical, which has titanium and S35EN and frame locks and stuff. And then their very top, which was what the River Wolf by John Demko was made by. They call that Terra something. Let me know. You guys must know. So this is the prototype that I got from Dirk Pinkerton himself. I thought that was pretty cool. He sent out an email to some of his more rabid fans. I think I know Dave got one because he got a few of these prototypes. You want any of these? He says. I have to clear out the coffers, basically. He's got too much stuff. So, yeah, I jumped all over this because I've been vacillating over whether I wanted to get this because I have the other one, the $30 version, and I dropped it and broke the tip and all that. And I was like, if I do that to this, I'll definitely do it to the titanium. But I just could not pass. It is such a beautiful knife. I love it. It's just that classic Navaja vibe and plan form, but just all done in modern materials with modern design flourishes and such. But just a beautiful knife. I love this, and I'm just smitten with Dirk Pinkerton's designs. I mean, maybe there's one, but I can't think of a design I've seen by him that doesn't ring my bell. So I had that one on me. In my other pocket, I had the Javelina Jack. You know how it's been going. I've been getting a new Jack Wolf knife from Ben Belkin every month, which counts me as a very, very lucky man. And then I basically carry that slip joint exclusively for the month. And then as we get towards the end of the month, and then I start bringing some of the other ones back out and using them. And I got to say, man, I know I say it a lot, but he does an amazing job with these designs. First of all, the manufacturer has it way on lockdown. The walk and talk, the fit and finish are perfect. I mean, I'm not afraid to say perfect. They really are. And the materials, amazing, and the grind, amazing. But Ben also, his design sense is amazing. I mean, there's subtle tweaks to classic designs that really make them top tier. And one thing that I like about all of them is that they're single bladed and therefore allow you to really appreciate the ergonomics of these classic handles. For instance, this sow belly trapper would not be as comfortable with a blade obscuring that shape. In other words, another folded blade in that handle. You get what I'm saying, because I say it all the time. All right, next up is a very near and dear knife to me. In the waistband, I had the Nova one by myself, and I shouldn't put myself first, by Hogtooth Knives, and then my blade shape on a Hogtooth knife. Beautiful, beautiful knife. I'm going to stop saying that now. Now I'm just going to say a collaboration between me and Hogtooth Knives, because that's too long an explanation. And I just called it a beautiful knife, which I actually bristle at when I hear people call their own work beautiful. So I'm just going to say a beautifully rendered version of a drawing of mine that I'm very fond of. How's that? Recurve that you sharpen through over the years, so you maintain a good Bowie shape. You've got a zero ground edge here, though it's not sharp. It gets kind of dulled down in the tumble process, the stone tumble process, but will still work for breaking things and gouging and that kind of stuff that you like your swedge for. We're going to move that jimping up here. We're going to make my logo smaller and number them and change the liner color. Otherwise, you're looking at the knife as it ships. And then an amazing Kydex sheath. He does a great job with his sheaths. Someone asked me on my video, I posted a video yesterday, what the tape was for on the clip. And I explained to him that I wear this, carry this at the 3 o'clock position in my waistband. And sometimes I don't want to draw the knife in reverse grip. So in classic fashion, this is how a lot of Bowies are carried and drawn. To have it in standard grip, you just kind of turn your hand so that the back of your hand is against your body, and you reach down and you grab it, and you can pull it out even though it's tipped down edge forward. You can draw it out and have it standard. So I've been doing that a lot, but in doing so, I was pulling it out at kind of a stupid angle and dragging it across this clip. So, and I saw one little tiny little, well, you can see it right there, tiny little scratch. So I didn't want that to happen again. So I put a little tape there to buffer it, but I don't think it's doing it. I think if I want to, I could glue a little piece of felt there or something, but let's face it, it's a knife. It's a work knife. It's a knife. It's an all-arounder style knife, and it's stonewash. So a couple scratches ain't going to kill it. That's 154 cm, and it's razor sharp. Though I think I may have stropped it too much, believe it or not. I think I made that edge too smooth. So I think I'm going to put a little bit more tooth back into it. When I got it, it was perfect. And then, of course, I had to strop it 1,000 times. And I actually think I didn't need to do that. So, lesson learned. Okay, last up on me for emotional support in these tough times. I had the Bellamy by Vosteed, and this is such a cool one. I haven't carried this in a little while, but I'm very impressed by this knife for a number of reasons. Chief among them, the price, $135, and that's M390 blade steel. That's 3.5 inches of M390, deeply hollow ground. And then you have this sort of end cut carbon fiber. Now, I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's an interesting carbon fiber, and it looks like it comes from a part of the carbon fiber that we don't normally see. I don't know if that's the case, but emotional support in droves here, because you've got three different, I did it with my left hand, three different opening mechanisms. You have the flipper, you have the fuller, which you can Spidey flick. Nice little fuller there. Beautiful blade shape, by the way. And then also you have the front flipper. Let's see if I can do this left-handed. It'll be a miracle. There we go. Miracles are real, people. Great knife. These are the knives I had on me today. That's the Vosteed Bellamy. Kind of a funny name. But the Nova 1, the Javelina Jack, and the Night Horse. All right. Enough about me. Tell me about my eyes. No, what were you guys carrying today? Let me know. I like to know. I like to find out. It makes me feel like, McConnell. Jay McConnell. How's it going, sir? He is also a Nova 1 future owner. Michael Morgan, good to see you here, sir. Bob, Jim, evening, Bob and Jim. Nick EDC, what's up, gang? Bob, Jim, it's good to have you here, man. As always, the wise owl. Hero Sticks, Bob, I got that LUDT coming back your way. Awesome. And some other knives to check out. Oh, sweet. 2 are handmade from the Maasai tribe in Tanzania. My brother got them for me when he was working over there. How cool. The Maasai, were they the ones? The Maasai. I know the Maasai. Yeah. They were recently featured in a great little documentary. Anarchy, good to have you here. That's sick. Anarchy, what is sick? Let me know which one, and I'll show it again because I like doing that. Will be. I've got one Tops knife, and it's out getting a new sheath made for it. Which one is it, Will? That is the way to go. Like I got the Prather War Bowie years ago, and I immediately made a Kydex sheath. One of my very favorite. Terra Mundi. Thank you, Terra Mundi. I'd be here saying Terravantium all night. Terra Mundi is the top tier of Beyond EDC, and they're the ones who make the Riverwolf. Riverwolf, yeah. Eric K. Navaja vibes for sure. Are you talking about the Night Horse, right? Serious Navaja vibes. I mean, that was definitely his jumping off point. Speaking of Navaja vibes, since we are, oh yes, haven't had this one out in a little while. I love this thing. It would be cool if they made this more of a Spanish Bowie, I gotta say, but a Spanish clip point. But that's me just being demanding. G Gleck, good to have you here. Made it. Hi all. Hi Bob. Hi G Gleck, good to have you here, man. Do you have one of these gigantic 7.5 inch folders? They are ridiculous, but money well spent. Ooh, Chris McNair, good to have you here, Chris. What's up, junkies? Happy Thursday night knives, Bob and Jim. The Nova 1 is beaut, Bob. Thank you, Chris. I really do appreciate that. I'm very psyched about it. I've been talking to people for 4.5 years about their designs and what it feels like when something that they've designed is made into a thing. Now, it is true, and I'll say it one more time. This is a collaboration, so I didn't design the full thing, but still, it is a thrill to see the blade as I drew it out, like exactly in real life, the way he did it. He is well, he's not I guess technically he's not a master. He's a journeyman, but he will be. He's amazing. Matt Chase. Eric K, how you doing, Eric? So you carry 4 knives? Yeah, Eric. So how I do it is I usually have, So this is what actually happens, Eric. The emotional support knife does not stay in my pockets. It rides in the car. It gets flipped in the car. It sits on my desk at work and drives the people around me crazy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm pretty sure they don't hear. And then the slip joint oftentimes will start in my pocket and then end up in my shirt pocket, like especially at work where it's freezing. I always have a shirt jack on or something. I'll pop that in my pocket, in a different pocket, so I don't have too much in my pockets. I do not like too much in my pockets, and the fixed blade is in the waistband on the belt, so that's kind of out of the way. But there are some people here, Eric, on this show, who watch this show, who actually carry a bunch of knives, and we're talking like 9. And I'm thinking of Wilby and Blade Ogre specifically. So yeah. And if they're smaller, sometimes I'll carry all 4 like that on me. But with a collection this, comprehensive, we'll say, it feels weird not to have a number of knives on me so I can experience them. And okay, next, James Moore. Good to have you here. Oh, I already said hello, but it's always a pleasure. James has been showing off some pretty sweet stuff here. Pocket Check got a special pair here, Grail knives, actually. Oh, this one. No, I don't know this one. The Sinkovich flip slip folder with Damasteel blade, blue. Oh, I do. Carbo tie scales. This you just showed off. And a BRR Gava with an amazing hand rub blade finish. Now that second one I'm totally unfamiliar with. But Dmitry Sinkovich is definitely one of my favorite. I put him in the top 10 of my favorite designers, and that's a pretty short list there. His stuff is just beautiful. It'd probably be higher up if I actually had experienced a Sinkovich knife in person. Like, I have the ZT Sinkovich and stuff, but man, I'd love to have a custom Sinkovich. Anywho, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. This old sword says, today's carry, Artisan Proponent Knife Center exclusive. That thing is so cool. In M390 and Thai bead blasted. I love, I didn't touch it, obviously, but I love the look of that titanium on that knife, that bead blasted titanium. That is going to snail trail beautifully. And I do love snail trails in blasted titanium. What else here? Chavez Ultramar Redemption 229. Riot Mini Crossroads. God, I love that knife too. That's a Kirby Lambert design. And his knives, he's one of those designers. Again, I've never held a real Kirby Lambert before, but every design he makes, and I had a Riot. I had a big Crossroads that I got rid of like a Mama Luke. But every knife he designs, I think, is like inherently beautiful. And a Real Steel Huggin and Nightcore P231 torch. Huggin, I don't remember what that is, but whenever I see that, I think of Mick Lovin from, what was that? What was Mick Lovin from? It was from like Badass or one of those movies. Blade Ogre says, all right, buckle up. Oh, cool. You got the arc for. Okay, today's is the Joker Nesmuk. Now, Joker is a Spanish knife company that I would like to get familiar with. They have some really cool stag-handled hunting knives and sort of Arkansas toothpick looking things, and of course some cool Bowies. And here, Chris has a Nesmuk by them. So Joker, it's a cool company. Arcform Slimfoot, that's by designed by Jeff Blauvelt of Tough Knives, and we're going to take a look later at his new fixed blade with Savivi in Knife Life News. And just by the way, well, I'll get to that when I get to that. Spyderco Spidey Chef, awesome knife. Bark River Ultralight Field Knife. Mech Force Blue Phantom, that's a beauty. Smith & Sons Ox. Bark River PSK EDC. PSK, what is PSK? Something survival knife? Personal survival knife or something like that. The GEC 29 and the Freeman neck knife. I don't know if I know the Freeman neck knife. I think all I know from Freeman is that button lock with the grooves that makes me grip my teeth when I look at it. It's kind of like a close-up shot of pores. Something about it I don't like. Chris McNair, Murdered Out Deca 2 and a CJRB Ruffian. CJRB Ruffian. I wasn't familiar with that one. Or if I was familiar with it, it's been flushed out of my head with this Ruffian here. Drive Strength says, carried the Kunwu Pulsar, of course. Okay, so this thing is, yeah. So I guess they've shipped because I've been seeing them, and you're the second person to mention how sweet they are. Ghost says, Demco 20S in Thai. Oh, man, nice. So this is an 80-20 in titanium. That's a A very coveted item there. And the Cold Steel Drop Forge Hunter. Okay, tell me, Ghost, these Drop Forge knives, I've been tempted by the Bowie and that other Bowie that I can't remember what they call it. I think they call it a survival knife. But my question to you is, are these Cold Steel Drop Forge knives, are they extra heavy? And have you wrapped the handle? Is it too cold? So let me know. Professor EDC says, Bob, Jim, first of all, Professor, great to have you here, sir. Bob, Jim, gents, good evening. Hope you are having a good evening, enjoying this great show. Well, thank you, sir. I am. I carried the Jack Wolf Knives Javelina Jack and the Sebenza 31 to prune a couple of trees. That sounds good to me. Sebenza 31. This is one that I've heard recently. Someone said that they got one that was not up to snuff, like it was not inspected or something like that. And that was shocking to me. I don't remember what the detail was, but obviously a fluke. Chris Reeve Knives is Chris Reeve Knives, so that was a fluke. But that 31, I would love to get my hands on that because that has the ceramic ball interface, right? Like the Umnumzan, I think. Jay McConnell says, got the 15V Manix 2 and a laid back jack today. I love the laid back jack. And the Manix 2, man, Shane Gables was selling a lightweight S110V one this week. And I just did not have, and he was selling it for a great price. It'd be awesome if he still had it. I might still get it from him, but I'm sure he sold it already. But a great price for that awesome knife, the Manix 2, in this case, lightweight. Michael Morgan says, Kaiser Odin in titanium and S35 yen, designed by Ivan Braganets. Okay, I was trying to remember which one this was. He's awesome. Ivan Braganets, excuse me. And a Roper Tumbleweed in carbon steel. Tidbit for Bob. It's a hollow ground locking junior sodbuster in white bone. Yowza, that sounds awesome. With a large bird's eye pivot. So it's a real sodbuster. I've quipped before about how Case, when they put jigged bone on their sodbuster, which looks cool, they changed the pivot, making it no longer a sodbuster, because if they had the big bird's eye pivot, it would come too close to the edge, and that would most likely crack or chip or break the bone. So they only do that with materials that they can control, like Delrin or others, I guess. Micarta, they could do that with. Will B says, Grimsmo Norseman, Protec. Hang on, Grimsmo Norseman. I've stuck on that Grimsmo Norseman. Is yours gold in color, Will? I'm trying to remember now because you've described it before. Protec California Custom Knife Show 2023 Mordax. That's the only way I can say that word. I think it's a very cool knife, that Mordax. The Spyderco Manix 2 in 15V. The Kaiser Begleiter XL, great knife. The Spyderco Ronin 2, also a great. I mean, these are all great, but the ones I comment on, I have. So the Riot Exo. I was just showing my brother-in-law that knife on Instagram tonight, and we were just talking about knife laws and stuff. The Olight Baton 3 and the Baton 3 Pro Max and Karis Bolt V2. So that's traveling light today. Traveling light. Like only 8 knives there. I have a Tops Dart. I had to contact someone to have a leather sheath made because of the blade shape. What is the Dart? I'm trying to remember what the Dart looks like. But that's cool. I mean, I'm always for having some aftermarket sheath to make your carry just right. Otherwise, sheaths are so important and to the fixed blade carry. So anyway, you get the point. Cobalt. Oh wait, I can never. Okay, Cobalt. I'm just gonna call you Cobalt. My today's carry is the Mick Strider Customs SMF XL Warncliffe. Ooh, my God, man! And an RMJ Raider dagger. I like what you're carrying today. That sounds awesome. First of all, with the Mick Strider Custom Warncliffes, those look sweet, at least the ones I've seen on Instagram. And then to know it's an SMF, which is already large, and an XL, that's cool. Nicely done, sir. Kepmuk says, today I am carrying my LT Wright Knives Shemanzi. Oh, Shemanzi. Huh. Malone Knives Outlaw, Ontario Rat 1. Speaking of Shane, he did a great video on that knife. The JWK, Jack Wolf Knives, Javelina Jack, and the Wingard Wearables Quill. Love the quill. Every time it's mentioned, I have to pull it out and fondle it. Have a Knife Day says Spartan Blades Area Combat Utility. And is that the brand new one, the clip point? And it looks like it's designed by Bill Harsey, but comes in at about like $150 or something. Is that what that is? Because I want that. I also want the dagger. I want the dagger a little more, the George dagger. I'm sorry. Spartan Blades, Area Combat Utility, and a custom graphite Cerakoted Spyderco Yo Jumbo with a 5x5 pickpocket Emerson-like device. Yeah, those things are awesome. I have that for my Yo Jumbo too. I had the Yo Jumbo coated at a local shop that does firearms. Oh, sweet. So you coated it presumably all black, right? That's cool, man. JN, what up, Bob? Jim, how you doing, man? Thank you for your kind words today on the video I posted. Much appreciated. Good always to see you, JN. Nick Edie's here says carrying the high fin small and Cosi, Chavez Redemption, and 15V Mannix 2, and a Leatherman Charge. Nick, this is more than usual, isn't it? Or maybe I'm misremembering, but I like how people are accumulating and carrying. Sunbun Bradley crying a Winkler belt knife. Okay, carrying a Winkler belt knife. Well, you could do better, but I'm not sure how. That's awesome, man. I want a Winkler in my life, and I know which one it is. I'd love to have that Syoc Tomahawk, and we don't have to stick at one. I love the belt knife too, and I love how you can get different handles from Winkler, and I love the what is it, like walnut with engraved something in it. Looks like kind of an island pattern. It's pretty cool. Byron, good to have you here, Byron Kennedy, as always, an early adopter of the Nova One. Sencut Sakshi, the off-grid all-day Necker, nice. Rosecraft Applejack, nice. Off-grid Cayman XL, nice carry, Byron. The Sakshi, I always forget which one that is, but I'm sure it'll come to me. Aberdeen Blades, good to have you here, Aberdeen. Super Bad, that was the movie. Super Bad, thank you. Super Bad. What did I say? I said, I know. Okay. I said the other one with the girl with the Hero Stick says, Bob, have you seen the Surge Knives Trisect? A little out of my size range, but pretty compelling new design. Now, I think I have. Is this the one that looks a bit like a straight razor? It's got the cleaver style blade curved with a belly. That's a beaut. I think that might be what you're talking about. Honeybear85 says, carried a Plucket folder today, mostly for snowstorm cleanup, emotional support. Wait, what is the Plunkett folder? I don't know what that is. But obviously, Honeybear, you got hit with that storm. So hope you're staying safe, staying warm, and people need to hear this. Men of a certain age, which I am, I'm firmly in my 50s at 51. You got to be careful when you're shoveling snow, because you forget that it's exercise. You forget that it's strenuous because it's cold and you're breathing in air, and it's nice to be outside and the snow looks beautiful. But, just take her easy. Have a Knife Day says, too bad that you can't go to the James Black Bowie Heritage Festival in Washington, Arkansas. Tell me about it. I know you love Bowie knives, and that's a great place to see. Jerry Fisk will be there. Damn. I mean, this is like another trip that there are a couple of knife oriented trips that I would like to add to my yearly one knife trip, which is Blade Show, and I have to start thinking about how to do that. Ruffian is a Pinkerton Warney. Okay. Oh, that one. Yes, that is cool. That's relatively new, and it has a slot in the open it has a blade slot, right? I think I know which one that is. That is a sweet looking knife, and in the tradition of his Wharncliffes. I mean, he does great Wharncliffes. I love the shape. I love the tip and the upward cant of the blade, because it makes it great in Pakal style if you need it. Dave says this RS Huggin is an Ivan. I'm sorry. The RS Huggin is an Ivan Bragnitz design, says Dave. The name comes from the Huggin and oh, okay. Ravens that flew over the world reporting back to Odin. Okay, so Huggen, Huggen and Myrnen. I'm not sure how they pronounce that, but that's cool. That changes my view. As a matter of fact, this is so goofy. But one of my passwords at work right now, we're always generating new passwords for our computers. Right now, part of it, because I write these long ass things, is Odin's Raven, which is so corny because I didn't even know the name. Huggen and Myrnen. I don't have to put umlauts. So there are no umlauts there. So Huggin and Munnin. That's what I'm going with. Blade Ogre says the Freeman neck knife is a tank-like little fixie with a great bottle opener on the end of it. Oh, that sounds cool. That definitely sounds cool, especially if you've got bottles of beer and sausages and you want to cut. And by the way, Dave, thank you. As always, Dave dropping the knowledge bombs, classing up the joint. It is because of Dave that I say Tanto. Now I heard many people before say Tanto, but when he explained it to me like this, he said the Japanese say Tanto. I was like, okay, I'll say Tanto. Never Enough Knives 007 says today was the steel chainsaw, the Schrade Bolo. Ooh, I'm very familiar, as you know. Thank you. And the Swiss Army knife Huntsman. Got hit with a huge ice storm and have limbs and trees down all over. Man, someone else, Jay Evans, Javon was also posted like a tree got ravaged in his backyard too. Everyone who's up there experiencing that or who has experienced it, I feel for you. And in a way, just a little tiny way, a little jealous because we only have gotten one tiny micro dusting that didn't even cover the grass this year. And I'm from Ohio, so I do need a little snow in my year to feel whole. Dan Satermo, howdy, Bob, Jim, and all you junkies. Well, hello to you, Dan Satermo. Always a pleasure to see your smiling, bespeckled face. Brandon Sutton, good to have you here, Brandon. Carried the crew Jimbo today. Oh, nice. Oh, that's right. That is the latest sprint of the Yojimbo. What color is the handle or what is the handle material? Is it different? Jeremy Nedro, good to have you here. Hello, everyone, he says. Well, hello right back at you. Jeremy says, I'm carrying the Spyderco Yojimbo 2 in crew wear. Man, all of these great minds thinking alike. And the Kaiser Towser K button lock in chocolate rich light in 3V. Chocolate rich light. Doesn't that sound like a weight loss shake? I'm going to pick up a chocolate rich light on the way to work and skip breakfast. Hero Stick says, 'twas a bokery day in the woods. Nice. With my youngest daughter. Those are the best. I love that. I love hanging out with the girls in the woods and just bumming around. Black and brass field folder. Oh, that's the one that you loaned me that I checked out. That's a cool knife. And the Nesme Pro, and that's the other one that you loaned me. A tidy pair. I shaved a walking stick for her, and she said, "Glad you always have a knife, Dad." Warms the heart, man. Warms the heart. Will B says, "No, mine is silver with gold hardware." Okay, somehow I knew there was gold involved. In your most coveted knife. By me, that is. Dwayne Letterman, good to see you here, Dwayne. What up, junkies? Well, what is up with you, sir? I can presume that it's just a Thursday night where you're just happy that you have all the knives you have and that you're home safe. Dennis Termo, and I'm 56, but I identify as a 21-year-old. Yeah, me too. Yeah, my wife thinks I identify as a 13-year-old, but yeah, 20 is where I rest, I think. 21. Rob's nerd. He says, well, evening to you, sir. Great name. Rob, Robert, Bob, Robert. Look at this. This is a night full of coincidences. We have Robert Brancheski with us here, and he says, I don't even make enough money for some of these knives. Well, that's kind of the thing, Robert. Many of us don't, and I say that jokingly. it is important not to go into hock over a hobby. It is important. And I have done that in the past and regretted it, badly. There was a time before I was married where I just thought like, who knows? The world's going to end, and that was a stupid attitude to take, man, because it didn't. And I still had to pay all those bills. So, don't worry about not being able to afford them, because we live in the best knife time ever, where you could have really excellent, perhaps even superior knives in terms of build for, very inexpensive. So, very inexpensively. So sweat not, and also you might find as you get older, and not to be presumptuous, but as you get older, you seem to accumulate things if you don't get rid of them. And also that includes, a little bit of money. And if you're lucky, you can do that every once in a while and blow some dough, but be responsible. And this is kind of the pot calling the kettle black, though I have changed my ways and I'm a responsible man now, but it took me longer than it might take many. Hero Stick says, Bob, what was the make and model of that production Pikal you featured this week? Glad you asked. Are you talking about this one? This is a prototype. This is the scythe, the folding scythe from Tier 1 Gear Reviews. Justin, Tier 1 Gear Reviews. Well, a few months back, maybe let's call it 5 months ago, he sent me 2 of his fixed blade scythe knives. And I showed them off here, and we talked about that. Had a little point here, but basically the same blade shape. We talked a lot about it here. I showed it off. I'm trying to remember the knife maker, Squirrel. He's got Squirrel in the name. I'll think of it. It'll come to me. But they decided to make a folding, Justin, Tier 1 Gear Reviews, decided to make a folding version of the scythe, and he had it prototyped by Shielden. This is prototype made by Shielden. It is outstanding. It is, I've had a couple of Shielden knives come through here, and we've given them away, and I think there's still one over in my pile of giveaway knives, and they're really well made. But to see this OEM knife, this feels better made than the other Shieldens I've had. And it's got a beautiful sort of paper looking micarta, and it's contoured. It's on bearings. It's got a really nice action, beautiful blade, very nice jimping. There are some, I put it over there, but there are a few things that are going to change to this, but basically it's going to look like this, 154 CM, and it's going to be in the $70 to $80 range. And Justin's whole goal with designing this was, he was bemoaning the fact that if you want a Pikal style knife, you're going to pay upwards of $200 or more if you want these. And then there's a dearth of them in the market. So he wanted to fill that void. And I think he's done a great job. I really like this. And look at the size difference between this and the Emerson. And the Emerson is a small Emerson. When I have my Emersons in the drawer, this is all the smallest Emerson that I have anyway. And you look at this, and this is even smaller. And I like that for this style knife, because what are you doing with this? You're hiding it in your hand. And then if you, God forbid, need it, you open it, and then you've got a little, nothing to disarm up here, and you can easily stash it and then use it if you need to escape a sticky situation. So very, very cool knife. Justin from Tier 1 Gear Reviews is a really cool and generous guy, and has loaned me and exposed me to a lot of knives. So I'm very happy to see this happen, and I will jump on the pre-order when that happens, because this is a good one. Oh, he is going to change the clip. That it'll be a wire clip. I do remember that. Happy Haptics EDC. Good to see you here, sir. What's going on, you filthy animals? Had my 80 20.5 clip, a GEC Tascosa. Oh my God, I'm sorry, guys. My wife made some amazing pulled pork tacos tonight. GEC Tascosa on me today. Less is more. What is the Tascosa again? I can't remember, but I remember when it came out. I remember the name. Rob's Nerdy EDC says, receive my EMP EDC relative today. That is cool. I like that one. That's cool because it's a little different from the Nimble, but still has that EMP EDC look. I'm sorry, Jim, can you go back to that? I just want to finish with in 20 CV. Very nice design and great to fidget with. Okay, cool, man. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. Michael Morgan, purple G10. On Crew Jimbos. Now, make the blade black, and geez, I've got a problem because I do like purple and black, but I've grown to like maroon and black much better. So maybe that's my good justification for not buying that. Brandon Sutton says, Bob, mine is the Knife Center exclusive Crew Jimbo with the satin finish and the smooth black G10 Honey Bear. So that's cool. Honey Bear 85 told me about. Oh, I thought I was okay. I thought that said sold me, but anyway. Dan Stermo says, actually 55, but who's counting? Well, good. 55. You just lost a year, man. That's good. That's good. You're Benjamin buttoning it. Nick EDCer says, sorry, brain fart there. It is more carry than usual, Bob. Oh, okay. There's always room for a 3.5-inch fixed blade, though. Knife junkie style. Oh, cool. You carry it over there? That's cool. Do you find it? Well, obviously you do. I was gonna say, do you find it comfortable? Because I was just thinking today, like, how do people carry fixed blade knives if they're not just dangling them on their belt? And that's the perfect way that I found. G Gleck says, got my first Randall made knife this week. The SPC Fighter with an 8-inch blade and a border handle. Okay, that is cool. So the border handle is a single choil, single finger choil handle, and then the rest is somewhat smooth, but contoured. And then it's got this blade, which is the number 1 blade on the number 16 handle, the SPF, and then it's got yours has an 8-inch blade. This is a 7-inch. Oof, I approve. I love this knife, and I think yours sounds awesome. I do like the border handle, and I like all the handles, but I don't like some of them on some of the designs. So yours sounds awesome. Congratulations. G Gleck said, had a Tops Rapid Strike double edge around the neck. That's good thinking. And Tops Felony Stop and an Emerson Tiger. Oh, okay. All right. You're speaking my language here. I thought I put it away. I was like, I know I'll need this tonight. And I put it away. Okay. I was going to show off my double edge, but what does it matter? It's a Rapid Strike. But sometimes I like to illustrate what people are saying if I have them around me. But that's great. You had 2 double-edged Tops knives on you. And yeah, I approve. Hero Stick says, yeah, I got to have that scythe. Love it. Yeah. And the handle is very comfortable too. Hero, you'll find that the handle is quite comfortable. It's very, very neutral. I love the idea of this folding pakal, but I'm not a huge fan of Shieldon's work, says Happy Haptics EDC. Yeah, I have very limited exposure to Shieldon. Like I said, I've had one, and I think I still have one over there. And like all new Chinese manufacturers, are like, this is good. This is good. The design is a little, but it's good. And I think I think maybe they shine on their OEM work. Maybe when they're not designing, but just executing. Razorback, good to have you here, Razorback. Wouldn't mind one of them Crewwear Yojis. Para 3 Maximet, Endura 4, and the usual GB2 today. Got an S110V Mannix on the way to fill the void that was created after missing out. On the Triple B 15V. Yeah, that S110V Mannix, that's the one that Shane had that I was like, it's black, Bob. It'll take me a second. It'll take me a second to know what you're talking about. Oh, the blade. The blade is black. Mine is the purple G10 and a black blade. Oh, says Jeremy Nedro. That sounds beautiful. Beautiful. I love purple. I mean, it's a combination of my 2 favorite colors. Well, blue and red. All right, whatever. Have a Knife Day says, I'm still searching for a Randall 4-7F with double quillions. Wait, what is the 4? 4-7F. Randall 4. The Border Patrol handle is the one with the belly and no real finger grooves. The single finger groove is just called the single finger groove handle. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Cool. Well, thank you, Brandon. I was mistaken. Now I can't quite picture what a Border Patrol handle looks like. I thought it had the single thing, but I'm gonna have to do some research. Maybe that's an option I should consider. Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to remain content with the two Randall knives I have, because I could see going way down this rabbit hole, and you know, who can afford to do that? Nick EDCer says, no, I meant there's room for the Nova one. Oh, I see. Oh, cool. I carry fixed blades in the front right pocket if it's slim, or back pocket if it's bulky. That's cool. Yeah, this would probably be a back pocketer because of the handle. But I've carried this in my front pocket, in my 511 pants, which have a flat area here for your knife, and then the pocket slants up, and this fits perfectly right there. Of course, my one concern about carrying like that is it would be, and now this is not something that has ever come up, but it could. It would be easy to grab. If someone just bumps into me, they could easily grab it and tug it out. That's why I don't necessarily like it in my front pocket, but it is accessible. It's nice up there. But G-Glex says, been eyeing a Raymond Thorpe Bowie Randall, but man, yeah, no kid. Oh, I know which one you're talking about. The Raymond Thorpe Bowie by Randall. Yeah, serious dollars, especially for that one. I mean, that's a more difficult one to come by. Mutiny Grim, love that icon there, or that avatar. I'm using my Spyderco to cut in orange. You know what? That's cool. I love that. I love knowing that in real time, people are listening about knives and using them. I like thinking about people stropping their knives and sharpening their knives, or just zoning out to this show, oiling or doing disassembling. And I think that's cool. Happy Haptics EDC says, Shieldon's marketing ethos revolves around Pokemon. What? I don't know, and I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what Pokemon is, but what does that mean? Mutiny Grim says, knives are addictive. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I just brought my wife's cousin down here, and my brother-in-law, and my cousin hadn't been in this man cave in a few years. He's a spy type, so he's off doing spy type stuff. And he came in here and he was like, oh my God, Bob, it has gotten so much bigger looking at my collection. And I was like, they're all locked up. What are you looking at? And he's like, all the stuff on the wall, your Bowie shelf. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I have accumulated quite a bit. And then he had the nerve to ask me the mathematics. How many of these were given to you? How many have you bought? And then his wife was like, how many are there? And I was like, people, these are not the questions you ask. It's like saying, how heavy are you? And how old are you? I see some grays. Have a Knife Day says, I went to a 511 grand opening and won the 511 scratcher. How cool. 511 of pre-tax merchandise. Nice, man. We have a 511 close to my workplace, and this area that I live in, after the Nova one is named, is not a 511 type area. So I go there as much as I can and spend as much money as I can afford there. Like, I love their pants. And occasion I bought some gear there. Like, what did I buy there? I bought a knife there. I can't remember which one. But in any case, the point is, I see a 511 store in this area. I'm gonna go there because I don't want it to go out of business. I want one tactical store there. We have a gun store near me that went out of business. A gun store. So that tells you the kind of environment we're living in here. Hollywood Tacticals. Hey, Hollywood, how you doing, man? I appreciate your kind words on the video today. Just off of a webinar, listening in. Also, tomorrow I'll get a custom fixie for only $40. Should be here by next week. Would love to show you, Bob. I would love to see that, man. That sounds cool. And it turns out you and I do have very similar tastes, don't we? Rob's Nerdy Knives says, I often strop my knives when watching YouTube. Yeah, no, it's that soothing. It's like self-soothing. It's like when you see people going like this to self-soothe. It's the same thing, except it's a little bit cooler and a little more threatening. You know, if you walk into a room and you don't know that the guy's just self-soothing with his strop, he might look menacing. So that's always good. Jeremy Nedro says, I always sharpen my knives when I listen to podcasts or watch live streams. I love that. Yeah, because, you know, it's full immersion. You know, you're hearing it, you're seeing it, you're feeling it, could be smelling it. Mutiny Grim says, thanks to USA sanctions, I can't update my... Oh, dude. Wait, where are you, Mutiny? Oh, you're in Iran, aren't you? Oh, that sucks. Are you in Iran? I want to make sure that I'm remembering correctly. But man, I'd like to find out about your local knives, though. Some of your, and I'm sure you're neck deep in them, so you're probably not as interested. But it's maybe something a little bit similar to this one here. But anyway, JN said, put put knife pivot lube on my Native Chief today, and it's back to Spidey Flickable. That Native Chief, that S90V Native Chief. I do envy you that. No, I don't envy you. I want you to have one too. Nick EDCer says, I hear what you're saying. However, if someone steals the Nova from the pocket, then they have chosen doom. You have not chosen wisely. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that would be a big mistake for a number of reasons. But chief of them, well, is that I don't know. I would run them over with my car. Rob's Nerdy Knives says, I bought my first fixed blade ever. Tactile Knives, Dread Eye. That's a good one, man. Oh man. So you're the type who's like jumps fully in. I like that. Small and perfect size for EDC in my duty belt. So this is the one designed by Matthew Christensen. It's the Tanto. That's a sweet little knife and duty belt. So if you're law enforcement, is it frowned upon to carry a fixed blade? I've always wondered that. Iran, says Mutiny Grim. Mutiny, I am sorry to hear that you are having difficulty getting knives. That sucks. But I wonder if you have, well, you would know way better than I. But maybe you start collecting knives from Iran and then somehow try and sell them to guys like me. Breaking my heart there. Razorback says, haha, it's just before lunch here on Fridays, whenever your lives. Oh, so I'm always sharpening in the van with a headset following along. How cool, man. Always good to break up the usual political stuff I listen to. Here, Razorback. I'm, somewhat hooked, not somewhat. I'm totally hooked on my regiment of political podcasts. But the people I listen to are also funny as hell. They're smart and insightful, but also very, very funny. So it's not a total downer, but man, it can be a downer. Netflix and Strop. Yeah, man. FEMA camp for FEMA camp etiquette. That's pretty funny. The Dread Eyes Magna Cut to HRC 63 to 65 is awesome. So they're doing it right. And Tactile can do it right. If you watch the podcast with Jared Neve, we were talking about this and how Magna Cut is so frequently under HRC'd, and that's because you put it at 63 to 65. It's very expensive and more time consuming to grind. You go through more belts and all of that. And Johnny Danger, good to have you here, Johnny. That's a cool name. Knife Junkie, are you from New York? No, but I lived in New York City for a good 13 years there. And I went to college in New York many years before that, and I have family in New York. So I'm not from there, but I have a connection. Rob, are you? Let me know. Rob says, officially, you are not supposed to carry fixed blades in the belt or where accessible. Then it has to be somewhere not accessible to the public or in close quarters. Okay. Yeah, I would imagine that is the case because it's not part of your issued equipment. And I'm sure it's taken into account that your issued equipment, heaven forbid, but it's possible that it could be taken from you whilst struggling or something, in a struggle. And, if they grab some unsanctioned knife and do damage with it, you could get in real trouble if it's right there on your duty belt. So interesting. Johnny Danger, what are you doing, man? Thank you. I appreciate that, sir. He's sending me a super chat. So I will salute you with one of my cool fixed blade knives. Yeah. So no, I'm not from New York, Johnny, but Johnny Danger. Are you from New York? Great state of New York. Now I think that New York City kind of ruins it for the rest of the state in terms of things like guns and just things like laws. But New York City is a cool place. It goes through its fits and starts. It has its troubled times, and I think it's in its troubled times. My wife goes there quite a bit for work. Well, I don't know, 6 times a year or something like that for work, and she always kind of tells me how it's changed from from when we lived there. So, Johnny, I appreciate your super chat. You are a gentleman and a scholar, or just a good guy, perhaps, since I don't know you, but I like the cut of your jib, and I do appreciate that super chat. And I want to salute you with this here wild pig hunter, since we've been talking about tops. Now, when I was talking before about all the finishes they do, I think this is the one that they don't offer on refurbishing because that is due to a differential heat treat here. It's like a hamon line, basically. But other than that, you can get them all done. This knife is so cool, and it's very similar to a Russian Kizlyar. And I've seen some Russian military knives that look very much like this. But I do adore it. Also, a gift from my wife. Johnny Danger, this is for you, sir. Thank you so much, man. I do appreciate it. And there is your... Okay, there's your flyby, your swim by. Put this aside. See? All right. So yeah, Jim is bringing up an interesting point. We did have a topic for tonight, and that's being prepared. And really, I want to leave it open to you. Now, we were talking about political podcasts, and we were talking about knives, and we're talking. So what's the nexus? And that is, well, things seem to be going to shit. That's pretty obvious. So just out of prudence, and this doesn't mean you're like a wackadoo, or this does not mean you're paranoid, but out of an abundance of caution, it helps to prepare in one way or another. You get storable food, that freeze dried stuff that lasts for 25 years. Some of it's actually pretty good. Let's get some of that, keep it in the basement, keep it in the attic. You never have to worry about it until you need to worry about it, or you lose your job or whatever. It's good to be prepared. And not just for the apocalypse or for the rise of the zombie horde, but for losing your job, or some unfortunate thing like that. A huge car expense, and now you have to pay for that to get to work, but you can't buy food, so you got your storable food. Being prepared. How are you prepared? I know we're all prepared with knives. Wait, can I see Sunbun Bradley's? Sunbun Bradley says, I only own 4 knives, but they're all awesome nerds. Is that a comma? All awesome nerds, like you nerds. Well, I'm happy to hear that, man, because it's not quantity, and sometimes it's not even quality, but it sounds like it is for you, and it's definitely important to have the good knives. Have a knife day. If you can get me your address and t-shirt size, I will send you a Have a Knife Day shirt. Oh my gosh, I will get on that right after this here show. Thank you, man. You're going to send me a t-shirt and you're giving me a super chat. That is awesome. Hang on. I'm just writing it down. I have to write it down. You're like, why don't you voice dictate to your phone? And I'm telling you why. Because I don't do that. All right. Now, what is befitting? You know what? I'm not going to try and I'm going to do something a little different. So for Have a Knife Day, Oh, this is what I'll do. The V44 Bowie. Now, I know he's got one of these. You just recently got one of these with the stacked leather handle, and that looked beautiful. And this is mine with the Moran style handle. Let me put it under here. That's why I have it, right? This is with the Moran style handle. Bob Moran, a legendary knife maker who he did a lot of things like, and I'm not remembering most of them, but I know he really popularized the making of pattern weld Damascus steel. He kind of started an upwelling of that, upswell of that in the knife community. He did this kind of very contoured style handle. That's why they call this a Moran style handle. I always thought this looked a bit like a horse hoof or has a sort of hoof-like appearance, and I love the way it feels in hand. Actually, here, I'll show it up here again, because this little dip here is where your palm resides when you're kind of choked back. And that dip up, or that swoop up, is what stops the knife from flying out of your hand when you're doing that chopping motion. So if you need this for any sort of chopping thing, you're well taken care of with this handle. But to me, and I'd like to hear what you think about this Have a Knife Day. To me, this is a little bit more of a fighting knife, even though it's got that broad, sort of a Western Bowie style Bowie, and which to me denotes more utility, more universal camp chore type utility. But I always see this as a fighting knife, and I think that has something to do with the handle and the cross guard. But what do you think? Have a Knife Day. I'm curious what you think about that. And you say, you watched my video, you know what I think. But all right, to you, sir. Thank you so much for that generous super chat. I really, really appreciate it. And here's to the brotherhood of the V44. It is small but growing. Okay, I got to put that down before I do something stupid again. Beastie, he says. Yes, indeed, that it is a beastie. That's a tank Bowie, says Mutiny Grim. It is Mutiny. I've always loved Bowies, but recently I've been appreciating them so much more. I don't know why it is, but I think I feel a little bit of national pride with it, but also it's cool to know that clip point shape goes throughout history. It's it was maybe perfected and codified here at a certain point, but it exists throughout history. So it's cool to see to trace it to this moment and to this blade right here. Brandon Sutton says, reminds me of a smoothed out kukri handle. Oh yeah, it totally does. I got one over on the wall there. I think I need more kukris in my life. Trees, bush, a guy in a tree holding a bush. Exactly. Yes, all of those things. It excels at dispatching all of those things. Never Enough Knives 007 says, I always have a light knife and bandana. If I leave the house, I have a bag with things that make holes, things to plug holes, ways to light a fire, and water. Those are the bare minimums. I like this philosophy a lot. So this is on being prepared. Never Enough Knives always has a light, always has a knife, and always has a bandana. Now those are my the light is always on my keys, so I always have one on me, but I in my bag keep a bigger light. But the knife always on my person, the bandana always on my person in my back left pocket. And I started doing that. Started carrying a bandana in my back right pocket, fold it up so it just a little bit peeks out the top, because that's what my dad used to do when we would go on road trips. He didn't do that all the time, but when we went on road trips, he'd always have a folded up bandana in his back pocket. And for some reason, I always thought that was cool. I never really voiced it to him or never really thought much about it. But I started doing that, I don't know, like 7 or 8 years ago. Hey, Shane, we were talking about you before. I was talking about you before. And it comes in so incredibly handy, not just but for a while, my daughter's noses, always snot nose, when they were little, and then cleaning my glasses. I am a perspirer. And so on many summer shoots for work, I'll be out in the sun, mopping my head. They come in handy, but also it's never far from my thought that if I cut myself really badly, it might come in handy too. Of course, a belt is probably better for a tourniquet and stuff like that, but it just feels like it'd be a good thing to have. Brandon Sutton says, "'Cause Bowies are awesome, Bob." Well, I think I agree with you. Bowies are awesome. That's why I was obsessed. Am obsessed. Just can't get excited about most Bowies. What about this? What about that, Shane? That's exciting. Except for that fingerprint. That is exciting, right? I mean, like, what's the word? Like, it's not even open for debate, right? This is inherently an exciting Bowie. Maybe you don't think so. Edgy American hearsay you speak, says Brandon. Hey, Shane, I was wondering, do you still have that S110V Mannix that I was eyeing up and that we were just talking about? Edgy American Shane says, "Oh my shit, my oh shit bag goes everywhere. I do goes everywhere." Let me start this from the top. My oh shit bag goes everywhere I do. It's cool how it constantly evolves to match my oldness. Yeah. He keeps his what's that stuff? Metamucil in there, to stay regular. Yeah, I hear you, man. I'm in the same boat. I think you and I are the exact same age. Yep. You can trace your oldness by looking through your EDC bag without a doubt. So check this out, guys. I thought this was kind of interesting. Here's a little thing I came across on Knife Magazine. If you guys, I'm always talking about Knife News, which I love. Benjamin Schwartz, the publisher and writer over there, he's great. He's a great writer, and he somehow comes up with interesting and new ways to make a new frame lock folder sound interesting. Like he's a very good writer. But I also love Blade Knife Magazine. Now, my Knife Magazine is still in print, and it's also a big it's a big web presence. But the thing that's cool about Knife Magazine is that they don't focus on all the newest, hottest necessarily. They focus a lot on knife makers. They focus some on knife history, and they'll do articles. They did an article recently on like the greatest American knives, and this guy Clay Alder over there, he's great. Clay Alder, Alder. He's a writer and not publisher, but editor over at Knife Magazine, and he is also a good writer and funny, man. He does some really hilarious quips and has some funny stories on there, and he's just a nice guy. And I met him at Blade Show this year, and it turns out we went to the same high school, and it's a small high school, and that was surprising to me. But he was a couple of years behind me, so I didn't know him. But that was a cool and interesting little twist. But anyway, he put up an article on Knife Magazine about 2 New York City cops in Brooklyn who had beef and got in a fight in the station house, and it was a knife fight. And I just think that is, I don't know. I mean, it just struck me. Oh, there he is. H. Clay Alders. It just struck me. An NYPD cop was taken to Kings County Hospital after being stabbed by another officer at their Brooklyn precinct station house. And the department's Internal Affairs Bureau is now investigating the incident, police sources said. Both cops were on duty. I'm sorry, that's not funny, but it's unlikely, I guess. Both cops were on duty when the one officer assaulted the other following an argument at the 73rd precinct shortly after 9 a.m. I mean, 9 a.m. Saturday morning. That's how you're starting off. The injured officer was being treated for a cut to his left arm, sources said. The motive for the incident is not known, sources said. I bet it's high tension. I know things in police departments are rough these days. There are a lot of people leaving police forces. There are a lot of overtime hours that the police are having to work. I know in my own jurisdiction, the cops are the police force here is pushed to its, I don't know, I'm not going to say breaking point. It's not there, but I mean, it's pushing the limits. I know it's hard on the officers themselves because they're working a lot more hours to fill in for all the police that aren't coming, that aren't like coming into being. Shane says, update, I no longer have the Mannix, Bob. It's yours now. Oh, shoot me your address. Dude, Sweet. Hey, do you want to do a trade? Want to do trade? I know you want dough, and dough is what you will get. But if you're interested in a trade, let me know, man. Let me know. I would happily buy a knife to trade with you. Just kidding. I can get rid of some of these, and will get rid of some of these just as soon as I'm done using them as cast members here on the Knife Junkie podcast. So yeah, police officers getting in knife fights, not good, not a good look. Hopefully those gentlemen worked out their differences, and hopefully they're fast friends now. That'd be awesome. But one cut to the arm leads me to believe that no one really wanted that fight to happen, but it just sort of escalated and pride took over. I don't know. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to read this that Jim put up. March Gentleman Junkie Knife Giveaway will be held on Thursday Night Knives on March 16th. Okay. Yes, become a patron at the Gentleman Junkie level to be eligible. Yes, sir. I'm not exactly sure what we're giving away. I have a feeling it will be the Off-Grid Knives Fixed Blade Tracker X2, the Stonewash one, the one that I didn't keep. And I kept the blacked out one because I know you would all want the Stonewash version. No trade, it's yours, says Shane. Shane, well, thank you. And we will talk offline about that because I know your original motive for selling that in the first place. You know, that's why we sell stuff. So we'll talk. But thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And we'll make it equitable for both of us. Okay, so let me know about being prepared. And as Shane said, his bag evolves all the time. Now, I carry a backpack to work and comes in the car with me, and then comes up to the office, gets locked in away in a cabinet. And I have all my stuff there if I need it. And, if anything happens while I'm at work, like 9/11 happened while I was at work. So it was like, oh shit, how do I get back to Brooklyn? That was then. And it took me many, many, many hours. And I was wishing I had something like I have now. I've got food in there. Yeah, it's a little ridiculous for an EDC bag. As a matter of fact, I've been threatening doing an audit of that EDC bag for a while now, but, and just seeing what's in there, but I'm a little afraid. But in any case, I have that. And then in the car, I think this is important. I think a lot of people do this, but keep a special survival bag just in your car, a get home bag. And it doesn't have to be the rise of the golden horde or a civilizational collapse that you might want this thing for. It might be your car breaks down and it's late at night and you got to walk, or whatever. Or maybe you're driving through the Pine Barrens in New Jersey and you break down and it's late night and you have to set a fire to keep the Sasquatches away, or the Jersey Devil away. You're gonna want that bag in your car. But really, seriously speaking, it really does engender confidence to have that a bag like that stashed in your car. And I have a feeling that right now I'm preaching to the choir. I'm sure many of you have that kind of thing. But I was just remembering what I have in my bag, and the folder in my get home bag is the OS 8 Rat 1. That's kind of how this whole topic came up, because Shane did an awesome video on his Rat 1, and I really liked it because he made the point, the uncomfortable point that I bring up sometimes, and that I kind of bring up with myself. But the Rat 1 is all you need, by far, probably all you need in a folder, and then everything else that we get is gravy on top of that. And it's true. But the Rat 1, so it made me think about my get home bag, my Rat 1, and what else I have in there. And I still have, you call it a get home bag, I call it an oh shit kit. Yeah, that works. 5-door, what are you doing? 5-door, good to see you here. And thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it. Don't get to watch live often. Appreciate the shows, Bob. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you and your kind words and your watching. All right. It's going to be double-edged. It's It's either going to be this one or this. It's going to be this one. Okay, I'm going to salute you with 5-door. Thank you for this super chat. And I wanted to show you this. This is, I was talking about Dirk Pinkerton and how I'm very much loving his designs these days. This is his custom Razorback model. Handmade, so Dirk Pinkerton designs a whole slew of knives for companies like Concept, Kaiser, etc. Beyond EDC, as I've shown tonight. But he also is a master at grinding knives. Now, I say master because I have 2 of his handmade knives, this one and the Cave Bear, also a curved double edge knife. And by the way, and the grinds are perfect. Everything is perfect. And he gets major respect from greats like Sean Kendrick, who is an amazing knife maker. And he thinks that Dirk is a great man on the grinder. So there's this. And then I also wanted to show that this knife is based on the Khanjar, which is kind of like that, this curved double-edged Middle Eastern knife, and the Hell's Bells Bowie, fighting Bowie knife made by Bill Bagwell, made famous by Bill Bagwell and produced by Ontario Knife Company back in the day. No longer, unfortunately. I don't quite see the Bill Bagwell inspiration, but I believe him. And so this is the knife I'm going to salute you with, sir. This thing is awesome. I had him double edge it for me. And I know that Dave, this Old Sword Blade Reviews, has one, and he had him extend out this portion and put chimping up there, which on my next Razorback I'm doing. Hollow ground, quad hollow ground, thin, beautiful, sharp, wicked, deadly. 5-door, this is for you, sir. Thank you so much, man. I do appreciate it, and I'm glad you had an opportunity to catch this show live. There it is. Oh, sorry. Was that a chorus of angels? Hollywood Tactical says, my major problem is I make my EDC backpack partially a somewhat get-home bag as well. Yeah. That's but then it gets too heavy, so I make it a smaller pack. Then it keeps getting bigger, so I leave it at home ad nauseum. Oh, man, that's funny. So I've had the same thing happen, and I went so far as to you may remember this, but last year my wife got me one of those awesome EDC in-pocket organizers with leather, but it was too big. So I put Swiss Army knife, a light, and a pen, and a lighter in there. And I said, this is the core of my new bag. And I took a diaper bag that we used to use. It was a tactical, a bag that I used as a diaper bag. But anyway, I took that. It looks like a Maxpedition sling bag, basically. And I built my EDC just around that small, simple tool set. That's all I need. And then the same thing. It just got that tiny little bag got packed until it was like a bowling ball on a string around my neck. And so I went back to just dumped it all in my backpack. Chad, good to see you here. Chad Damron is with us. He says, late to the show. What's up, everybody? Well, it looks like oh, that's a fist bump, and you're 4 beers in, man. This is the perfect time to join us. Greg Vanderlip, good to see you, sir. Junkie, how are you? I'm doing great, man. How you doing? Smash that like. Oh, listen to Greg, man. He knows what he's talking about. Thank you, Greg. I concur. Please smash that like button or stab it. Do whatever you got to do, or use the puño. Will B says, my work bag, my quote-unquote work bag, has a few bottles of water, my lunch, a larger fixed blade, 5 inches plus, a phone charger, LED headlamp, that's a good idea, extra LED light, my medicine, candy, Southwire side cutters, and a few other things. This is a good carry. You know what I like about it, too? This is very smart. And Jim would concur with this because he's heard this message a million times. But when you're preparing a kit, don't forget your medicine. That's something we might forget. And because you have it and you're using it daily or whatever. But if you take medications on a regular basis, you want to get extra bottles of that stuff and put it in your at home. home bags or your way to forget about that stuff. That could be forgotten with all the cool tools and stuff. Yeah, I like that. That's a good setup you got. Robert Brancheski says the first 24 hours will be civil. Yep. Then shit hits the fan. Get home bags. Get home bags are great, but footwear is more important. Keep spare sneakers in the car. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. You know, my wife, that's always been a thing, is like when she wears heels to the office, I'm always like, you got sneakers, right? She's like, yeah, I got sneakers. Because, you know, we've seen it. Will B says, I keep a second bag in the car and that has other things in it too. Yeah, I even have a fishing pole in my car. Not that I'm some angler and I think I can survive with it. It's because someone gave me a fishing pole. I like to keep it in the car just in case I want to fish. But it has occurred to me on several occasions, well, if I get lost out here, at least I have a fishing pole in the car. Brandon Sutton says, Razorback. Perhaps I might be able to put my own swedge on it. That sounds near for sure. What do you mean? Oh, well, it doesn't have to be double-edged. If what you're getting at is you would want it, but not double-edged, you know, that's how it came. And then I had him put that on. Show the like button. No mercy. I like that. No mercy. No mercy. Just punch it. KF Boston says, happy Thursday, all. Well, happy Thursday to you. It is the official start of the weekend. You know, Friday is just something we got to do. And don't get me wrong, I do love Friday, but Thursday's the start of the weekend. Chad says, headlamps come in handy without a doubt at work or camp for sure. You know what? That is so right. And I was thinking I was getting away with not having one because my lights have those reverse clips so you can put them on the bill of your hat. But I don't wear a hat all the time. And I don't think I have a hat in my bag. So, you know, stick it in my mouth, do work that way. But yeah, I should get a good headlamp. And I'm trying to remember what the brands are. Greg Vanderlip says, I went as far as even having air nunchucks in the car. Yeah, okay. Air nunchucks. What you mean? Oh, dude. I'm so good with them. Five Door says, Will is looking to get through fences with the side cutters. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, Will. Well, first of all, I was also going to say candy is a great idea. Cheap, quick energy is good to have in that get home bag. But what are those side cutters? Is that a special kind of wire cutter? Chad says, keep jump pack in SUV, knife, paracord, some tools, and first aid kit. Yep. Paracord, another one. So essential and really efficient because you can gut it and you can take all those 7-8 strings out of there and tie those together. Like you can do a lot with paracord. I think yeah, I mean, it'd be good to have a spool of that stuff in the car. Actually, we have you know, when we lived in New York City, and that's a long time ago at this point, but when we lived in the city, it was essential to have a bug out bag that you could throw on your shoulder and run from the apartment with at a moment's notice. Things are different in the middle of a metropolis like Manhattan. You know, things can happen quickly. They can happen quickly everywhere, but I could see a place like New York being like, you got to get out now. Whereas here, you still have that bag, still have all of those bags, but you know, it's like over time, I took the big knife out of one of them, and so I would have to kind of reassemble it a little bit if we needed to go. But I kind of feel like in this environment, it'd be a little less. But I think I have no idea. I think I'm just speculating for comfort's sake. Will B says the side cutters are for work. Actually, I use them most days and don't want to leave them in my toolbox at work. I hear that, man. That's why you see you drive by construction sites and you see their tool chests hanging from cranes. I always thought that was awesome. It's like, steal it now. Steal it now. Brandon Sutton says, Bob, I was talking about the Mannix 2, my good sir. I prefer sharpened swedges on clip points, though. Oh, yeah. So as do I, but I got you. That'd be kind of interesting to put a swedge on that Mannix. Shane says, Bob, Nightcore has a great bi-fuel headlamp for $40, AAA and internal lithium recharge. I did a vid on it. Okay, I'll check that out. What is, oh, I'm sorry. You said Jim, can you put that back up, please? Thank you, man. Bifuel. What's bifuel? Great bifuel headlamp. I don't know. I don't know what that is, but it sounds like I want it. It sounds like I want it. And really, like once you have the hands-free light experience, light wherever you look, it is pretty good, man. It's hard to come back from. I do have a cheap headlamp that I use when I go up in our attic, but maybe I should just throw that in my bag just so I have it. Cheap or not cheap. Hero Stick says one item not mentioned that is wise is a battery charger of some kind. Yep. I have the Anchor power bank, and it's a brick, but helpful in a pinch if power is out and the car charger is not an option. That's a good one. I have one in my bag too. Also with stuff like that, and those, I have a charger in my car to recharge a dead car battery, which I've had to do because of something embarrassing where I let the car battery die. But so I got one of those things. Those are great, but you need to make sure kind of regularly that it's still charged. Not that it will lose its charge, but sometimes things get jostled, buttons get hit. Like I think mine once got turned on and just drained power that way. So I check it periodically, make sure. You don't want to be left in the lurch with your emergency item. You're like, oh, I'm stuck here, but thank God I have the, damn, it's not even. Yeah, you don't want to run into that. So if you have your battery charges, whether it's the little ones that you keep for your phone or whether it's for your car, just check to make sure they're charged every once in a while. Byron says, well, whatever you do, Knife Junkie, Tri-State EDC Cold does not recommend the 12 VDC Coon Hunter headlamp. Separate backpack for car battery and car battery sold separately. That's funny. Well, Coon Hunter, that would you need a lot of light, right? You're treeing a coon. You need to see way up in that. It's going to be big. Bifuel, 2 different battery sources. Shane, I could have figured that out. Now that you put it like that, I could have figured that out. But I was like, surely this doesn't run on gasoline. Why would they say fuel? But yeah, duh. That's all I got to say about that. Will B says, I have an Anchor power bank too. So Anchor power, huh? That's the one. What do I have over there? I can't see it. I also got another one in a family white elephant. So I have 2 chargers. Anchor power banks for the win in here. Indeed. James Moore says, did anyone here get the new Shiro collaboration with RJ Martin? I don't think he's with us tonight, but Dirk Werning got it. The RQ36 CPM S110V blade, lava and ash carbo tie, beautiful handles with titanium bolsters. Yeah, excuse me. Check out Dirk Werning's page on Instagram. First of all, he's got the best memes. He is a true meme lord. But his knife collection and watch collection are enviable. And yeah, he did get that new RJ Martin. Chad says, got the CPL solar power bank, hand crank light source as well. Backseat is loaded with small packs. That's awesome. You know what? The solar, you can get solar whole house generators, which I think would be awesome to have. But also those little things, and I think this might be what you're talking about, those things that unfold and you've got a whole array of solar collecting power set. Pretty sure that's a thing, and I'm pretty sure I'd like to have one of those. But yeah, solar, the idea of a solar generator or a solar recharger is great because obviously you don't need the sun, you just need light. You need the sunlight filtering through clouds will work, so it's a great way to keep yourself charged up. Let me show you my Mad Tanto. My Mad Tanto. $20 hand crank radio light on Amazon. Internal battery will charge your phone. Okay, here's something. Well, maybe I shouldn't do this. Okay. Ket McNessart says, if you want a real coon hunting light, get a sunspot. Ketmuk, do you go coon hunting? I've only heard stories, people describing it. It sounds fascinating because the dogs are a big part of it, and it happens at night. And I just think the way it happens seems kind of cool, like the process. But I don't know. I'm not a hunter, but I listen to a lot of stories about hunters and people talking about their experiences. For me, it's in the Sasquatch context because that's a little pet interest of mine. But in listening to all these hunters talking about being in the woods and seeing crazy stuff, it's gotten me interested in hunting. But I've never been, and who knows, maybe someday I will. But it would be great to feed the family for a year on a deer, or however that works, however long a deer lasts. But I think the reason I would really want to go is just to experience it, being out there uh, with that purpose in mind. Mm. Okay, check this out. This is a Kaiser. This is the new one called the Mad Tanto. This is the Damned Designs. Adrian D'Souza designed this, and man alive, well, you can tell from that handle that's a damn design. This thing is awesome. I really, really like it. The blade. Let's just look at the blade shape itself. Beautiful. I love that kind of drop point Tanto, where it puts the point right in the middle, so it's not trailing, and you can use that tip a little more efficiently without bending your wrist too much. I love the handle. It's very, very ergonomic. That micarta is very nice and feels good in the hand. It's got really nice action, if that's your thing, and that seems to be everyone's thing. But it's got great action, and it's fun to fidget with. But this blade is insanely sharp. It is very, very, very thin. And you're like, how thin? And I'm like, I don't know, but it's really thin. Like it feels like I don't know. It feels like the Civivi like Dogma or something. It's like barely there. And tonight, while I was helping my wife prepare dinner, she had me opening up packages of traveler's cheese, like Mexican traveler's cheese. And the plastic was, I like testing knives on plastic because the thinner and sharper they are, the better they go through something that you think should be easy to cut, like cellophane. But cellophane's not like that easy to cut. It's easy to tear, but sometimes like a dull knife will just make a mess. Anyway, this had some sort of thick but loose kind of flaccid plastic on this cheese, and so I used this to cut it out, and I was able to carve a perfect little circle. And I don't know, I guess you had to be there to understand, but it's really, really sharp. And I've only used this for that type of activity and sharpening pencils. And this is great. I love sharpening pencils with knives. I like drawing and writing with pencils at work. And then my girls do their math homework with pencils. So I'm always kind of sharpening pencils. And this one, oh my God, it's awesome. I really do like this knife a lot. And it's a great way to get into a damned design knife. Well, it's a great and convenient way to get into a damned design knife, because I know it can be catch as catch can with those under the damned label. So this is a cool one. I do recommend it highly, I would say. And it's an inexpensive Kaiser, and Kaiser, they do good stuff. Nomadic Adventures says Bigfoot. Yes, Bigfoot. Need Bigfoot to handle that. What? Bigfoot to handle what? They call them Sabe. I think the First Nations people up in Canada. I think that sounds cool. Sabe. It's kind of anyway. Ket McNessart says, I have gone a couple of times. Oh, okay. You've gone coon hunting I've gone coon hunting a couple of times. I have a treeing walker coon hound. Oh, cool. But she unfortunately doesn't. But she unfortunately just doesn't have it in her. So I have to go with someone who does have a good hound. Oh, I'm sure she's a good hound, just not good at treeing raccoons. But that's cool that dog is bred for that specifically. Great house and family dog. What is it? The name of the dog again? Treeing walker coonhound. Like that. It's a purpose built dog. I want all my folders to have micarta. Yeah. I was just looking around. I'm like, do I have too much micarta? It's stupid. stupid things to think about when you're avoiding thinking about important things. But I was like, I have a preponderance of micarta. And then I was like, but that makes me feel good. G10 for folder, micarta for fixed blade. Interesting, Mutiny. Why do you say that? I would actually agree with you. Like, I would much rather have the micarta for a fixed blade, but I also like micarta on folders. Why do you say G10 on folders? Just curious. Byron says, all you bladed suspects have a great night and upcoming weekend. Gotta cut out. Thanks, Bob and Jim. Bye, all. Well, Byron, as always, it was a pleasure to have you with us, and have a great weekend, man. It's going to be cold here, right? Today it was 80 degrees. I cannot believe it was 80 degrees in February. And then this weekend, it's going down to like 30 degrees or something like that here. So I don't know what to think. But anyway, have a great weekend, and I hope you have a good one. Nomadic Adventures says all dogs were bred for a working purpose before they became pets. Yeah, we even had when I was a kid growing up, we had a Bichon Frise, a little she was adorable. She was an awesome little dog, stout-hearted, if not stout in stature, but stout-hearted indeed. And she was bred from water spaniels, and those water spaniels were rat dogs who would, or muskrat dogs who would catch like rats by the water, something undignified, and then they turned them into lap dogs for French royalty, I think. So this is all totally unscientific history of the Bichon Frise. But my point is that even a dog like that, which we look at now and think that is purely a pet, even they had purposes when they were, first bred. James Moore says, still no micarta here, Bob. Lots of tie and carbon fiber, though. Well, I've come around on carbon fiber. Now that I say now, but it's been happening for years at this point. But now that this isn't the only carbon fiber option, that regular basket weave style, I just don't like. Now I'm really loving carbon fiber, and I've seen some exquisite stuff on your fixed blades. I mean, on your custom folders, some of that nice carbon fiber. Mutiny says optics. So you like the way it looks better. Micarta makes a folder look cheap. Oh, that's interesting. I don't feel that way, but that's an interesting observation, because there's certain things, for me, it's more of a feel thing. And there are certain micartas that don't necessarily look cheap to me. There are those too, but there are some micartas that feel cheap. That's interesting. Plus, I feel like with G10, you might have more vivid color options, just due to the material itself. When you're dealing with micarta, this is canvas as well as whatever the coloring agent is, as well as epoxy. So you're going to get different colors in there because you have different materials. But if you have G10 and it's all purple, it's all purple. You cut it in half, it's purple in the middle. Chad Dameron says, Chad Dameron, not Dameron. Just got a new knife. Wife said micarta. Said, yeah, fixed blade. Wait. Say this again. Just got a new knife. Wife said micarta. LOL said, yeah, fixed blade. Chad, I'm sorry, man. At this late hour, I'm not exactly picking up what you're putting down, but I think your wife has good taste in handle material and probably good taste in men. Muskrats. Yes, muskrats, says Nomadic Adventures. Yeah, I think that's what she was. Our little Delilah was bred to kill muskrats. Hollywood Tactical says one of the most ancient dog species is the Chihuahua on temple carvings thousands of years ago. It's purely a pet. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Isn't that how the Egyptians, didn't they have cats as pets? I know they worshiped them and they had a high place, but didn't they also use them as pets? Robert Brancheski says, good night all, stay safe, and see you again next week on Thursday Night Knives. Robert, you have a fine evening, sir. And I got your name now, man. Have a great weekend, and see you next week. Brandon Sutton says, G10 and Pertinax are my favorite. Wait a sec. Okay. I'll breeze over that for a minute. G10 and Pertinax are my favorites for folders or fixed blades. Micarta is nice, and TerraTough is interesting, but I heard it gets dirty easier. Yeah, Taro Tough is, for all intents and purposes, paper micarta. So I think it depends on the color. But what the hell is Pertinax? It sounds like ask your doctor about Pertinax. May lead to, and then you list the side effects. I have Taro Tough, says Will Be, on my Manix 215V, and had some crazy carbon fiber scales made for my Benchmade Rift. Oh, crazy carbon. Okay, not okay. It's not like it was crazy, but that's the company. Okay, for my Benchmade Rift. Ooh, I like the Rift. My favorite of those three knives, the 940, the Rift, and the Contigo. Yeah, the Rift right in the middle. Probably a little small for my taste, but the perfect dimensions with all three of those knives kind of have the same ingredients mixed around a little bit, and the Rift does it best. That's my long way of saying I like your knife. Five Door says, Bob, can you restate the name of the Kaiser Tanto? All searches go to Begleiters. It's called the Mad, M-A-D Tanto. And now I'm trying to think, was this an exclusive somewhere? Does anyone know? I can't even remember where I got this at Atlantic Knife. Go to Atlantic Knife, and that's where I got this. But I'm not sure if it's an exclusive to there, and that's why you're not finding it, or what. But that's where I got this, and I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And that's not a place I frequent. So, but they had good prices. I was looking around Atlantic Knife. They have good prices on some of the things I like. Hollywood Tactical says there's no theory on the domestication of the cat. There are fully wild cat species like the desert sand cat that are 100% just cat. The Scottish wildcat, etc. One theory says they tamed us. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. That is a funny way of looking at it, but it's very easy to see it that way. We have an awesome cat. She's a little hunter killer, and she loves me because I rescued her. I saved her life from going to some other uptight household. Chad says, always go for my Carta. She gets tired of me gushing over it. I got you. Greg Wesley Custom Fixed Blade. Oh, nice, man. Oh, this micarta. Oh, well, actually, this micarta. Oh, look, it's maroon and linen. I do like a linen micarta for that tight weave. But, and actually, that camera doesn't really do this color justice, but I do love maroon micarta. It's true. And then the more patina, the better, as Advanced Knife Bro said once, and I just repeat ad nauseum because I think it's awesome. Micarta takes on your personal filth signature, and you get a patina on your micarta, and that's very gratifying, especially when you see where your fingers have lain before doing hard work. Look at the history in this knife handle. It's very, very romantic. Yeah, this thing is very sweet. Very, very sweet. And yeah, that choil does accommodate a finger. It was, I kind of couldn't tell. And I think it's a trick of the eye because of how it's set back behind the front portion of the handle. But I was like, is that a sharpening choil or a finger? It is no doubt a finger choil. And I like it. I'm not always a finger choil guy, but it works great on this knife. Highly recommend it. I want to show you a cool knife before we get out of here that I am dying to get. Okay, this is the first story in Knife Life News. Tough Knives, Jeff Blauvelt. He used to be ages ago Tough Thumbs. He was a knife modder on YouTube, and he would have these great videos, hour-long videos sometimes, where he was showing off his latest work. He would do rescale, make new scales for stuff and customize and tweak knives back when knife modding was a kind of a cottage industry, Well, he was a few years ago. I've always loved his designs, but he was making a knife that looked just like this. He made it for himself. Not for himself, but it was kind of a one-off, I remember. And I just remember thinking, my God, that is so fine looking. I just love the look of this Tanto. And he's playing with the shape here, making the Yokote much bigger than the straightaway part there. And all this. So I love this thing. So this will be in D2. This is the Civivi Concept 22. Going to be in D2. Don't have a release date yet. And Stonewash, it'll have a couple of handle colors. And G10. I don't know why Civivi puts that goofy lanyard on there, though. And that's fine. I mean, so that same lanyard came on this Sen cut. What is this? The Sen cut. I can't remember what it's called, but had that same lanyard. And I know that some the Terzuola knife comes with that lanyard, and that's fine. It's nice. I'm not complaining. It's an extra thing. I just don't like them. I don't like that kind of lanyard, but interesting that it's there. Anyway, this Civivi will be it's almost 5 inches, 4.8 inches long. Got that beautiful Tanto blade. Now there's one design feature that sticks in the craw just a titch, and that's the pointy part where the lanyard goes in, i.e. the pommel. Now, on a knife like that, I'm going to want to be able to hold it like this and put my thumb there, for the many knife fighting situations I get into where I'm holding my blade like this. All that being said, it's still a preference, and that pokiness I don't like. And I'm looking at, well, what if I got it and just ground it off and made it a lanyard free thing? Well, I feel like I would have to grind off too much to totally get rid of the hole. So I think this will be a knife I just buy and just live with the fact that it's got a pointy pommel, which used to be my preference in my more Mall Ninja days, because I'm like, you got a weapon here, you got a weapon here, you got a weapon here. And now I just don't feel that way. I'd rather have something flat or rounded or curved. But all of that is nothing compared to how beautiful I think that blade is. So I'm really looking forward to it. Jeff Blauvelt, he's a cool guy, making knives over there in Pennsylvania. I'd like to get him back on the show. I had a good talk with him. Matthew Christensen, your ears must be ringing, sir. How you doing, man? Good to see you here. As always, we're just talking about the, I can't remember what it's called. Remind me what it was called. Professor EDC says, great show as every week. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bob and Jim. Have a great weekend. Thank you to you, sir. Much appreciated. No, not this one, Jim. Thank you, though. No, it was the fixed blade knife that Rob was carrying in his belt, in his duty belt. The new tactile is what I'm getting at. So anyway, Matthew, great to have you here. One last life knife news story I want to show. I could fix that pretty easy for you. I bet you could, man. Yeah, I bet you could. But if I'm going to send you something to grind, it's going to be a blank. No, I'm just kidding. But that's cool. I appreciate that offer. Matthew Christensen, ladies and gentlemen, his knives, God, they're blindingly beautiful. Go check them out. I know you know what they are, but if you've been living in a deep, dark place and you can't call them to mind, check them out. Victorinox is coming out with their ALOX collection for 2023. And I normally don't really care, but this was cool because I like the color. Oddly enough, against my better judgment, I like the way these look. They're coming out with an electric yellow set here. And now I don't even like yellow on knives, actually. Not even on the salt knives, but something about these. Maybe it's because the milling casts thousands of little shadows across it. It looks different. Maybe the texture. But I'm also very interested in that large locking folder in the center. If any of you guys watched the movie The Martian, is that what it was called? With not Ben Affleck. The other guy. Oh, it just escaped me. God, please. Matt Damon. Matt Damon spends a lot of time on Mars growing potatoes. You know the story. Well, that's the knife he uses. That's his folding knife, except it's in red. And I thought it was, I like in the movie when I saw it, I was like, in the future, they're going to have a more futuristic knife. And then I'm like, wait a second. Let's think about this. It's not that far in the future. And you know that whoever's buying knives for the space mission is probably not going to be a knife guy. So they're going to be like, oh, Victorinox, that's a good brand. And this one locks and it's red, so take this one to space with you. So for me, I'd be like, of course, I'd rather have a cold steel in space, but Something about seeing this knife in that movie got me interested in that knife. So maybe one day I'll get it, because you look at it, it's a locking double-handed, like it's kind of an anomaly, because you look at the handle, you're expecting to see a thumb stud or a hole, and then you look at the blade and you're expecting to see a thumb stud, a hole, or at least a nail nick, but this is a pinch open. Anyway, anyone have that knife in the center, that big Victorinox? I don't know. I think that thing's kind of cool. And I kind of like this vomitrocious yellow. It is kind of appealing in a weird way. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'll be getting any Victorinox Alox electric yellow knives here in the future, but it's good to know that they exist. It's good to know that we're being thought of. Matthew Christensen, right back at you, sir. Your work is awesome. And the Dread Eye, thank you. The Dread Eye, a beautiful little Tanto. I don't know if you were here, Matthew, but one of our viewers is in law enforcement and carries that on his duty belt, tucked under so it can't be taken. Very cool. All the cops I meet carry that K-bar pistol-shaped fixie. Yeah, the TDI. Yeah, it's like pistol-shaped. And so the idea is it's supposed to be intuitive. But I always like pistol grip handles because you don't need to reorient your wrist to get action with it. Looks like a lime to me. It looks like lime. It might be just coming through the streamer. Gatorade lemon lime color. That's what it is. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's what it is. Delicious. Refreshing. I don't know. Very, 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 very refreshed. Razorback says, pretty sure that's the Hunter Pro. I think you're right about that. And I think it's cool that it has the little swedge at the front. NASA should have the VC Edge interface. Can't remember. Looks too thin. Looks thin too. Yes, it does look thin. And I don't think it has a clip. Like, it's got some charm to it because it's not giving you what you expect. It's not giving you the clip. It's not giving you the one-handed opening option. So maybe that's what makes it like worldwide friendly in some respect. Great show. Great to see you, Bob, and everyone. Work comes early. Everyone stay well and safe. G. Gleck, thank you, man. You too, and have an awesome weekend. We'll see you here next week. Take care, my man. Razorback says, something from Isham would have been better or a better choice for space. Yes. Isham. Yes, I agree. It would be, because it looks like a space. Yeah, they look totally space. I have the red Halo. So yellow is a no-go. Okay, you already have the red one. So yellow's a no-go. Brandon says, edgy American, NASA is right up the road from me. I will be sure to tell them. You know what, Brandon? Just do them a solid. It's NASA. They've gotten us to the moon. Just bring a box of them and leave it at the front step. And tell them who sent you. Hollywood Tactical says, damn you, just ordered the Mad Tanto from Atlantic Knives. You won't be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. This thing is very cool. And it's nice and thin. And you'll be very happy with this. Bob, how could you forget the VC Edge? Yes. Okay. So this is at this point, Shane, this is now just a mental block that I have somehow put up because I've been told a billion times. As a matter of fact, I was like, just last week we were talking with Dirk, who was showing. Yeah. Okay. I don't know, Shane. It's like every new fact pushes an old one out. Jay McConnell says, I've been super tempted by the Hunter Pro. A little time on a stone and you have a nice locking folding Scandi. Yeah. I want to believe it'd be a great woods knife. I bet it would, man. Because I think Victorinox products are pretty great. The ones that I've had, but they've all been the Swiss Army knife models. So. Well, guys, that looks like that's going to about do it for Thursday Night Knives this week. Before you click off, because I know you heard me say that and you're like, okay, next. But be sure to join us next week. Check in on Sunday. Awesome show we just recorded. And check out Patreon if you want some extras. Go to thenifejunkie.com/Patreon. But of course, if you're interested in the Nova 1, also you can go to thenifejunkie.com/Nova 1 and jump on the pre-order. We're gonna stop hold the pre-order on March 31st, or stop at a certain number of knives, whichever comes first. limited number run of 50. I was going to keep that under my hat, but I think I've said it like 100 times already. So pre-order deadline, March 31st, 2023. So get your shekels together and get yourself a nice recurve Bowie, like a good American or Iranian for you, Mutiny. Or actually, I'm sorry, this probably can't ship to you because of what you were talking about. But the point is, no borders with this knife. Let me know. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching Thursday Night Knives. It's been a real pleasure. I'll come at you next week. Great weekend to you all, junkies. Says Never Enough Knives 007. Great weekend to you, sir. Matthew Christensen, have a great night. Thank you, man. Thank you for dropping in. Always a pleasure to know you're there and making awesome knives for us. Chad Dameron, have a great night, amigo. Well, thank you, you too, man. I do appreciate that for sure. Have a nice day. Thank you for that super chat. So greatly appreciated. And for the chat. Have a nice night, he says. Cheers, fellas, says Razorback from Australia. Thank you, man. I hope it's going well for you down there. I can't wait to see your continent someday. JN says, everybody be well and mostly good. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and then Honey Bear says, peace, love, and beer. Right on, man. Peace, love, and cheers, we'll say. James Moore says, good night, all. James, thank you for joining us. As always, man, always a pleasure. Likewise will be. Good night, all, he says. Good night to you, man. And good night to all of you. And for Jim, working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying, until next time, don't take dull for an answer.